Retiring is great, but it can present some significant challenges. In today's episode, we're going to teach you what Wall Street advisors don't tell clients about retiring and the two biggest challenges that we see, and also give you the tools to be able to tackle those challenges. Hi, I'm John Shear, and I run a fee-only financial planning practice in Middleton, Wisconsin.
And I'm Bridget Sullivan-Mermel, and I've got a fee-only financial planning practice in Chicago, Illinois. Before we start, let's remind everybody to subscribe. It helps our credibility with the YouTube and helps us reach more people. So we really appreciate all our subscribers.
That's right. So let's talk about retiring. I mean, this is one of those things that's so counterintuitive to me, and I've been doing this professionally for over 20 years. And it's like we all strive to get to retirement, right? That's the American dream sort of a thing.
Right.
And it can be really challenging when you get there. And it can be a real big mind shift with things. And so we're going to talk today and maybe arm you with some information about being aware of these challenges, I think, is the first thing. And then like, how do we address that and give you some tools to think about this? And the first one that I want to make sure we talk about is that going into retirement, right? You save, you work for your career, you save money. Now you're in a position to be financially independent, right? You've hit the dream. And then making that transition from being a saver to a spender is a really big change of mindset and leap of faith. Right, and so, and I think you maybe see that with some of your clients. We've just had it come up a couple of times here, and it's sort of on the forefront of my mind. You see that with your clients as well?
Totally. And it depends on what year they retire. So people who retire when they're 45, 50, if they're fortunate enough to be able to do that, I see it as a big issue, even bigger issue. The people who are 70 when they retire, because they can conceive of their lifetime, their time frame, like 25 years, like, okay, I know what that is.
Yeah.
When you're 50, it's a little harder because you can think like, am I going to live another 50 years? And so it can be harder to start spending. Yeah. And just again, like you said, it's a leap of faith that you can do it. And it's interesting because it seems like what we're going to be talking about in this episode is really the emotions behind some of these issues. Like what are the emotions behind it? And how is that playing out? And so it is a huge factor because both there's fear of I don't want to run out of money. So you got to remember that. Okay. Mm-hmm. And there's things that like we do as financial planners to help people with that. Right? Yep. Like you can design your portfolio so to help people with that. And the answer isn't, I'm going to tell you that our answer just is generally not buy life insurance. Yeah. But there's other ways you can do it. And so just there's ways that you can work on your portfolio to design it so that you should not run out of money. Right? Yeah. Okay.
I just wanted to pull out one of the things that you said there just in talking about I just want to make sure that I never run out of money and that fear of things, right? And it's this financial things, and hey, we can design the portfolio, and of course that's important, right? I don't want to say that that's not important, but it's the feelings that are the real challenge. We can design a portfolio. You can design a portfolio that there's enough money, right? And it's important to do that, but from my experience, this has very little to do with do you have enough money, right? I mean, we work with folks, and objectively, they have plenty of money, right? But it's the mental challenge of saying, hey, I've worked for my lifetime, and one of the reasons why those folks have all the money they need is because they have permanent savings and they don't spend, and they're putting money in their 401ks, and they're maxing out their Roth IRAs, and they're doing these things, and they're not spending more than they make. And think about what happens with this, you guys, is now, and I think you're exactly right. I hadn't considered the people when you retire at 70 versus 58, it's a much different thing. But now I'm going to retire, and I am never going to earn another dollar by my labor. Right. I am, for my lifetime, I've been able to support myself because I go to work and I do my thing. And now for the rest of my life, I'm going to live on this money. And we had a client that was in, and he's kind of a friend of mine too. We've known each other for a long time. And I said this, and he said, geez, I know I've got enough. He has a pension and all these sorts of things. He goes, I know I've got enough, but golly, I'm just nervous. And I said exactly this. I'm like, well, yeah, you're never going to make another dollar the rest of your life. And he looked at me and he said, oh, naughty word. Like, yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. Right? And I'm like, you should be scared. You should be freaked out. Right? It's a big thing. And this is the thing that to me doesn't come out in the what's your number for retirement and the traditional Wall Street, here's how we make enough money so you have enough. It's this emotional side of going, yeah, this is what we're preparing for, folks, right? Making the leap to go from you're not going to earn, and of course, like our logical brain, what's that, the right side, left side of your brain, right side of your brain? It's, of course, we're saving up so we can spend this money. Yes, this is a plan. And then when you have to do it, you go, whoa, it's a big deal. And so I think some of this is just being aware, like this is what you're coming up on, and not being surprised by it helps when you get there to go, oh yeah, that's right. I'm all churned up inside. This is what I was expecting. If you know that you're going to get all churned up, it makes it easier. When you're surprised by it, it can be really challenging.
Yeah, I really like what you've said, but another topic I want to bring up is the focus on identity. So your basic feeling of identity, it can actually feel pretty good to have a big nest egg. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you feel like you've accomplished something. Mm-hmm. Like I've been working for this my whole life, and look I got whatever number it is.
Yeah.
I feel good. This was my goal. I feel good. I got it. Now I can retire. But then you're like, wait a minute.
If I spend it,
it's not going to be there.
Right.
And part of my identity and feeling of pride and who I am is that I've been able to do this, and it's building, not that it's diminishing. So it seems like some people can feel like they're diminishing because their money is diminishing.
Yeah. When you brought up identity, I had a little different view. That's a really great thing. Like that we set these goals because we're trying to accomplish. And I thought you were going to go in the direction of, work for many people is identity. When you go to a cocktail party, what do you say to someone? Hey, what do you do? Right? Like it's a converse. And, now I don't do that anymore. Right? That can be a really challenging thing. And I think it's a great segue into, and one of the second main points is, what do you do? Not so much from a job standpoint, but now in retirement, what do you do? Right? That use of time, it's so cool, right? We've got all these freedoms of things, but that can be a real challenge when, you've got that, whatever your work schedule is, 9 to 5 or Monday through Friday, or you've got a routine, and now suddenly you don't have that routine can be a huge challenge. And you hear about people going back to work in retirement, sometimes because they need money, but just as many times because they don't have anything else going on, right? That routine can be really challenging, and especially recently with COVID and things going on. And so it's one of the things, and I know you deal with that with folks too, and there's exercises and things to go through, but think about what do you actually do, right, in retirement. Yeah. It's cool.
We've got another episode that we talked about it as well. There's another emotion that I want to bring up. And sometimes if you're in a couple, people have different emotions, right? And
really?
So
I've experienced that.
Right. But another emotion that some people have is fear of losing it all. In the business, and I think colloquially it's called bag lady syndrome. Mm-hmm. So feeling like I am going to completely run out of money and be destitute. And that can keep people up at night, and that can make it very difficult for people. And sometimes different people in a couple feel different, different ways. And I think to some degree, having a grip on really knowing the facts can help. But I think it's even more than that is figuring out what those underlying fears are and maybe writing about it or talking to somebody else about it. So sometimes it can be, I'm abandoned at a shopping mall for my mom, and this is coming back. I don't want to be there again. I'm totally by myself and oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Right. Nobody's here to take care of me. I don't, I'm totally lost. I don't, those kinds of fears of abandonment by everyone that possibly might love you. Right. It's really deep.
Right. Yeah, it is. And I just smile because it's for some of those things. I love that you said, identify what's really going on. Yeah. What's causing the feelings are real, right? But then what's going on? Right. And then so many times in my life anyway, it's, when I look at that and you say like, okay, not everybody's going to abandon me, right? But that the feeling is right, and then just be able to go, oh, let's look under the hood and what's going on. And when I can do that, and when we can help clients do like, what's really going on here? It's about running out of money. Well, what does that mean, right? It's not running out of money. It's I'm going to be abandoned. All the things that go in, and you kind of go down, and there's a word for it that's escaping me right now. But you go like, what's the worst that can happen? You know, all my friends are going to leave me. I'm going to live on the corner, and you know, nobody's ever going to talk to me. And then you go, okay, good, I got that out, right? And then you can sort of clear out, but it's that baggage that kind of hangs in there for you. And by talking, by journaling, by identifying what's going on, it seems like that's not a very financial planny thing to do, right?
Know,
but it works.
I have to say that at one point in my life, I sat on a park bench for a while. Like I was in a situation where we had to take our laundry over to the laundromat. Like I was in an apartment, and it was a lot easier. It was like 3-4 blocks away, and so I found a shopping cart, and I had all my stuff in a shopping cart, and I really didn't have that much stuff at the time. And I was like, wow, this is ringing true for me, you know? And so I just sat there for a while. And I was like, and honestly, if I just experienced that, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, there's passerby. It was kind of a nice day.
Yeah.
I wrote about it to one of my friends, and she's reminded me about it since. So I would say that it wouldn't, if that's a fear, like get to the bottom of it, but like spend some more time in nature. Go outside, sit on a bench, see what it, confront it a little bit.
Confront it. That's a great term for it, is right. Don't so many of our things are the fight or flight thing, right? I feel like a lot of this is flight. And to have some of that fight and go, listen, just sit with it and go, what's the, it's like, what's the worst that could happen is like kind of a funny phrase, but that's, what's the worst that could happen? Okay, let's dig into that. And then
I'm not saying this to minimize the difficulty of people who are abandoned and who are homeless and etc. But I'm talking to people who just have this fear and encouraging them to confront it. So I don't want to seem uncompassionate, but I just want to encourage people to confront it.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I guess maybe a great place to sort of circle back on things and wrap up. Again, we're talking about the challenges in retirement that nobody else talks about in the financial world, and thinking about what it's like to transition from being a saver to a spender. Give some focus to that and how that might feel for you and what you can do about it, and then how you're going to spend your days. Like, what do you do when, it's great for 2 weeks, but on the 732nd day in a row where you have nothing that you have to do, how do you think about that? If you can do those things, that's going to put you way ahead. And with that, I'm John Shearer. I run a fee-only financial planning practice in Middleton, Wisconsin.
And I'm Bridget Sullivan Mermel, and I've got a fee-only financial planning practice in Chicago, Illinois. And please subscribe, and we're also both members of ACP, or the Alliance of Comprehensive Planners. We both talk to new clients all the time, and if you are interested in, you're not in our area, but you are in a different area, you want to meet somebody close by to you, you can check out acplanners.org, and there you'll find other like-minded financial planners. And with that, thanks, John.
Till next time.